Alrighty, Eels fans, you have clicked that thumbnail, which means you want to hear who our 5 November 1 contract targets for 2027 are for the Parramatta Eels. I'm your host, Vinny Trinidad. This is Darren Parkin. Darren, the Eels, the rebuild is well and truly underway.
And it's an aggressive one too, probably similar to what the Bulldogs did. I think the Eels, whilst it's been a season that their fans would still be somewhat frustrated with, the expectation was fairly low or modest. I reckon even early in the year when they were really battling, they were showing some signs. Every now and then there'd be chains or passages of play or runs that looked okay. It would just break down at certain points, and towards the back end of the year, it got a little bit better in that space. So I think their really aggressive approach to the way they're managing their list at the moment will eventually work for them. So yeah, I'm kind of bullish about what they've got.
Yep, it's interesting stuff. Before we get into our 5 options, just a reminder, this video is brought to you, of course, by ZeroTackle.com. Not only is ZeroTackle.com Australia's #1 independent NRL news source, it also has games. Test your footy knowledge with NRL Streaker or NRL Name Scramble at ZeroTackle.com. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. We have plenty of NRL content every week, even through the upcoming off-season, because, of course, footy never stops. Now, with all that out of the way, let's take a look at 5 2027 November 1 contract targets for the Parramatta Eels. Alrighty, so as we said, big rebuild underway. I think I'm pretty optimistic about where the Eels are at. Obviously, they lose your Dylan Browns at the end of this year. At the end of 2026, you lose your Addo Carr, you lose Jack DeBellin, but he has a club option. So there's going to be a little bit of movement. Looking at that 2027 squad, though, I think there's about 13 players signed with your Talon Silvers and Jermaine Hopkins.
Yeah, and there's a few youngsters of their own that they'd be looking to secure. Guymer, we mentioned Penasini as well, who's been touted on these lists, kind of second only to Wishart, probably, in terms of other clubs having a look at him. Free agency period for Riles to have a crack at further accelerating this rebuild. That the common theme is a lot of the players going out are either tried veterans or players that have had cracks at it, and a lot of the guys they're investing in heavily are quite young. So, now they'll probably look to build around middle forwards and wingers and centres. Simonson likely to go, having requested a release. So I think they'll focus their energy around those areas.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun place to be. So let's start with this exercise. Option number 1 from the Titans, Beau Fermor.
Yeah, obviously looking to replace certain aspects of their list. Beau Fermor's expressed that he'll probably test those options from the Titans, and there'll be a few of those Titans players in that mould. So, a few clubs are going to have a bit of coin. The Eels are one of those, given all of the players that have departed, and obviously that Dylan Brown contract, which goes to the Knights. Fermor can play at Origin level, yet to do so, but clearly in the frame. The majority of clubs in the side will want him, and I think the Eels would be ahead of a few others in terms of enticing.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they weren't asking the question. Fermor. Option number 2 from the Storm, coming from a good system, Nick Meaney.
Yeah, I mean, you spoke about the future of Josh Addo Carr, but even then, in terms of the long-term options, Bailey Simonson set to depart the club, as we said. So, Meaney's someone who's, a bit of a utility type player around Melbourne, can plug holes, has played fullback, wing, 5/8, halfback, has had kicking duties as well when been called upon to do so. He won't have to do all of that at Para, given Moses' importance to that group, but he'd be a really good pickup for them. And, Craig Bellamy does love him.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard to prize one of his favourites away, but you never know.
Yeah, he's sort of become like that Mr. Fix-It down at the Storm, so probably why Bellamy loves him. But option number 3 from the Dolphins, Jake Averillo.
Yeah, it's popped up a few times in this list. The Meany one will probably depend on, where it stands. He brings a lot of versatility, can play everywhere between 1 and 6 and do most of them extremely well. Had a very good year for a Dolphins side with a higher scoring team, not just in the 8, but in the competition, or higher than everyone else in the 8, rather. He's been one of the better players defensively as well. They're going to have to pay overs for him, but they've got the capacity to do so. And he'd be one of the key targets on their list.
Yep, absolutely. The salary is always the interesting part. So number 4, Morgan Smithies from the Raiders. Turning our attention to the forwards now.
Coming across from England, been a really good pickup for Canberra. And obviously, they've skyrocketed up the table, right into contention. Bit of an old school forward, hard, tackles really, really well, but can also be quite, quite skillful and have really nice touch as well. So they've got a bit of depth and a bit of quality in that area, but he's a guy that could really complement what they have, and got a bit of experience playing all around the world. So I like him as an option. Yep.
And speaking of experience, our option number 5, Toby Rudolph from the Sharks, probably more of a help to develop the youngsters.
Yeah, moving on, senior players with a good crop of kids means you do need to bolster some of those guys, particularly for the key match moments where it's tight. We saw similar with the Tigers, who at times in close games, maybe that lack of experience, and the Eels would want to avoid that type of thing from happening for them. So, Toby Rudolph, not the best prop in the competition, but is a very consistent, strong, resilient player. So, I think he'd really complement what they have.
Yeah, off contract at the end of 2026, probably going to get squeezed out. So that is a great option there for them. And that is a great 5 options for the Parramatta Eels for the November 1 deadline for 2027. Let us know what you think in the comments of our 5 options. Thank you, Darren. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and we'll catch you on the next one.